Amables amigos, welcome back to the Club Lucha YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be bringing back a segment that I really enjoyed doing on the very first episodes of the podcast, but I haven't really done one of these in a long time. Of course, I am talking about a Lucha movie review. These movies aren't for everyone. Some people watch one, they think they're super campy, super corny, and they have no interest in watching anymore. This is a video for those of you who really enjoy these movies. The movie that we'll be talking about today is a Santo movie from 1967 called Operación 67. And I'd also like to take an opportunity to talk about the shirt that I am wearing and kind of maybe build hype for the Club Lucha merch drop that is coming very soon. A variety of t-shirts as well as some tote bags for those of you who have many things to carry during your day. So again, just a quick opportunity to plug these things. Again, thank you, and let's get right into the video now. So let's talk about Operación 67. This was the first movie for El Santo to leave black and white and be shown in full color. And I think this film really takes advantage of that with colorful sets and some great wardrobes. Operación 67 was directed by René Cardona and René Cardona Jr. and also starred Jorge Rivera as Santo's partner. The plot of the movie is pretty simple. It's an action spy movie with a lot of fight scenes, car chases, femme fatales, and sweet gadgets. And in this review, I'd like to talk about some of my favorite moments, some criticisms, and overall thoughts on the film. The movie starts with the criminal masterminds, this big criminal organization, switching counterfeit printing plates with real ones and getting access to millions of legitimate bills while the government prints counterfeit money. The plan here is to destabilize and destroy the economies of most Latin American countries. 13 members of the crime ring are given watches numbered 1 to 13. These little gadgets are welded onto their wrists so they are never taken off, and they are used as communication devices. The watches also have some sort of kill switch on them that can be activated from the villain's secret base. El Santo is introduced to this film in one of the coolest ways possible. There he is, sunbathing on the beach, mask on, spending some quality time with a new date and alongside his secret agent partner, Jorge. That is until both men get called into the line of duty to stop this evil organization from destroying the economies of Latin America. The next few scenes just kind of establish some of our characters for the first half of this movie. For example, we have a burlesque/cabaret dancer whose performance is featured in the very next scene. And then we get, of course, El Santo having a match and the chants for him just being super, super, super loud, right? And in this arena with Santo in the ring wrestling, we get a look at different kinds of pairings of secret agents, evil secret agents that are there to eliminate him and take him out. And one of these pairings has the brilliant idea of betting on El Santo, cashing out, and then just quitting the mission. Unfortunately, those watches on their wrists are always listening, and that kind of ends up being their demise. Our first real fight scene outside of the ring happens to El Santo when he is ambushed at home. And I will say this, 2v1, Santo in the leisure robe, and both of the other guys have weapons. Santo puts belt to ass, like he does in just about all of these films. And that's one of my favorite parts of these movies. These scenes where El Santo is just teeing off on these guys, mauling them. Yeah, he's taking some hits here and there. They're getting their licks in too, but El Santo is always so dominant in these scenes. Just thinking about other movies as well, he is always whooping these guys until, they get an upper hand somehow. Maybe they get another weapon. But in this case, Santo beats the dirt off of these guys, punches one guy through a window, knocks him down. We get a very classic kind of like a dummy that falls out of the window to show that. And then Santo is able to get the second guy and interrogate him. However, before he can divulge anything too useful, any sort of information that would give away who he's working for, his watch explodes. And he too somehow flies out the window, falls out more like it. Anyways, I love this scene, fantastic. I always love these Santo fight scenes. Of course, Santo tries to call his partner, Jorge Rubio, but it's established here very quickly that Jorge is tied up in something. And that something is a romance with the burlesque dancer from earlier, who is actually a part of that evil spy organization and happens to know that Jorge's biggest weakness is romance. As he hits the road in his sweet red sports car, Jorge is ambushed by an attack plane who is trying to turn him into Swiss cheese. He outruns the plane, gets into an open field, pops the hood of the car, and pulls out a bazooka, lines up the shot, and blows this plane out of the sky. And this was also really cool. He goes back to the dancer's, I guess, house, her apartment, wherever she's staying, and kind of the implication is here that, yeah, you know, he kind of pretends that nothing happened. She's surprised because she's basically like, how did you survive that? He kind of plays it cool, and as he guides her out of her house to start their date, the police are there to pick her up. Jorge then takes a little nap in the bed of this apartment, but he makes sure to set up some surveillance so that when the next spy, the next evil spy, I guess, comes to check on our burlesque dancer, he instead finds Jorge. Jorge does have the upper hand. Unfortunately, this attacker is very skilled in hand-to-hand combat, knocks Jorge's weapon out of his hand, and then we get another really cool fight scene. It's very intense. It's really awesome. Ultimately, Jorge, he wins this. He impales the attacker with his own cane sword, and that's that for that guy. These movies move at breakneck speed. In the very next scene, this dancer who has been captured by the police, she's taken a cyanide pill. So we lose that lead. We cut to Santo. He's walking out of a building, and this other car pulls up and just starts blasting at him. He dives under his own car, survives this drive-by, and then he jumps into his beautiful Santo mobile and chases them down. On top of it being just like a good-looking car, it is equipped with flamethrowers that are used to destroy, burn these guys to a crisp. And kind of in a humorous way, I believe in this scene, they were trying to escape and meet these guys on a helicopter to kind of get out of there, fleeing with the car. But, Santo has turned their car into a fireball, and he pulls up when he reaches them finally, because they kind of get ahead of him. He pulls up, he sees this giant fireball, kind of does a quick look at it, 3-point turn, and out of here. In a way, it is a bit humorous, just because the looks, and I also enjoyed this scene just because I was like, it's a little over the top, it is a little campy. Of course, that's what these movies are, and that's what, I don't know, that's a lot of it. That's a lot of what appeals to me about these movies. They're very unique in that way, I guess. The bad guys are getting frustrated with all their schemes failing, and their next scheme involves dropping a chandelier on Santo while he is in a match. And this too fails, thanks to the quick thinking of Jorge Rubio. The schemes are classic evildoer stuff. It just so happens we've got an all-star duo here. If these were just a couple of normal guys, they surely would have met their end by now. Unfortunately, that is illustrated by Santo and Jorge's handler being blown to smithereens by some sort of explosive launching device. And this is right after their handler dropped some important information on where the bad guys could have their headquarters. This, of course, leads into another car chase with Santo and Jorge chasing down the perpetrators. They catch up to them and are able to take one's watch after throwing the other from a very tall tower. Santo and Jorge take this watch to their top scientist, who gets to work on breaking it down for them. Of course, this takes time, and our nefarious villains have yet another plot up their sleeve. Once again, the bad guys try to exploit Jorge's tender heart, and the one tasked with taking him out is the evil woman who had been helping lead this entire operation. She goes undercover as an international reporter, and this somehow turns into jet skiing alone with Jorge Rubio. The plot here is to fake fall in love and then have another agent plant a bomb on Jorge's boat while he's distracted. They do not count on Santo keeping an eye on the date the entire time in his own boat, and Jorge survives this attempt. Santo and Jorge then work together to take out an aquatic team of assassins trying to take them out as well. Classic underwater fight scene here that is pretty hard to make out. Santo and Jorge go back to their French scientist and he gives them a device to track down the evil headquarters using the watch that they took. They start raiding the place, and in an act of desperation, the leaders of this organization hit the kill switch on all of their agents, expecting either Santo or Jorge to be eliminated as well. As the good guys make their way to the central room, the two top leaders try to grab the money and run. Unfortunately, the woman is betrayed and left behind to fend for herself against the law. A shootout ensues, and when the dust clears, Jorge Rubio sees who is hit. The forbidden lovers share a few words in a final embrace, and Jorge Rubio is gifted a very big ring. We then get a scene where the fake bills are being burned and an explanation as to why Santo wasn't cooked by the watch when the kill switch was engaged. It turns out the scientist was able to remove the danger from the watch, so the kill switch was effectively useless. Jorge uses a bunch of fake bills to light his cigar, and that's the movie. My biggest criticism of the film is a huge lack of characterization for just about everyone. The final scene with Jorge and his evil forbidden lover just doesn't hit because we don't know a thing about her beyond her being evil. She says she never lied about loving Jorge, but there's nothing to back that up at all. If you're going into this film expecting a lot of backstory and motivations, you won't get that. But also, you have to remember this is a Santo movie. These movies have a lot of campy action, a lot of sizzle, but not much steak. And to me, that's okay. I know what I'm getting into watching these, but for someone new to this style of film, maybe it would be a bit lacking. Basically, the plot is very shallow, but they do a lot of cool stuff to make up for it. I also want to praise the music for this movie. I'm a fan of the soundtrack used for this, especially in the action sequences. It's jazzy and intense, and it matches the tone of these sequences very well. Overall, I would say I really enjoyed this one. Is it in my top 5 favorite Santo films? Maybe not, but it is in my top 10. Lots of great action makes this one an easy recommendation for fans of the genre, and for those who've never seen one before, it could be a fun entry point. Anyways, thank you again for watching. Keep an eye out for the Club Lucha merch store opening up next week. Thank you again for the support, and I'll catch you next time.